First of all, let me start by saying I saw the first 2 episodes. I thought they were so well done.
Yeah.
Cool.
How much going into this thing, are you sort of like, even though the scripts are so good, are you sort of like, you see who's leading this cast, you see Apple, and you're sort of like, yeah, sign me up, I'm good.
Yeah.
I think it was a good little bit of that, right? But you also want to have a character that has an interesting arc. You want to tell a really fine story because there is so much content out there. So then you want people to actually find yours and look at it. And as you know, because there is so much content, that's not guaranteed just because you got a big name on the top of it. You really want to have a bunch of collaborators in there telling a really compelling story because no one person can do it. That's not what a good story is about. You got a bunch of people working together. It makes it much better.
Yeah, I mean, it's the old tried saying, it starts with what's on the page, and
That's right.
And I got the chance to work with Kerry Ehrin on Bates Motel prior to this, and she's a genius.
Yeah,
There's
she
no,
really is.
she truly is. So I knew when she was attached, I knew that we're going to work with something really multidimensional with great characters, with great arcs, and with profound sort of themes and angles on the themes, and that's what Kerry does so well. She pours her soul into every one of the roles, and you see it on the page.
And they're nuanced conversations. I mean, if you saw the first 2 episodes, you would be hard pressed to hear one of the men speaking in there who didn't have a really good argument as to why this is so unfair. Do you know what I mean?
Steve Carell's character.
Right,
what?
Steve Carell's,
Right.
absolutely. Mitch
Yeah.
Kessler, but Mitch Kessler's character was written by a woman. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we're looking at both sides of the argument, and we're being fair as we possibly can. I mean, really, to have a good
Completely.
conversation.
One of the things, and I said it downstairs, and I'll say it again,
Yeah.
what I love is when there's not like these exposition dumps.
Right.
Where
Yes.
you, like right from the beginning of the first episode,
Yeah.
you're meeting these people, and you're just jumping in the world with no sort of catch-up.
Yeah, I think
Sure.
that's right. And I think that's because Kerry and the writers and the producers and all the artisans and director of photography said, look, guys, just come on, let's go. And it takes great confidence in an audience for a writer and a production team to say, you're going to know what we're talking about, just come on with us. And people just hop right on board from minute one.
Oh, enormously. That's how Kerry writes, and that's how everyone sort of sees it through the prism of character. And then you add to that the fact that with Apple there was no real time constraint, which is enormously helpful. In broadcast television, you're bound by 42 minutes and change.
Right, yeah.
So a lot of those character arcs suffer, because in an effort just to drive story. Here, Apple said essentially, well, we don't really have a definite, time. So the story that had to be told was told in the time it needed to be told. And so that was enormously helpful, I'm
That
sure.
is, yeah, for sure.
Totally. One of the other things I think about the show, which I think will appeal to a lot of people, is that it just feels so timely with what's going on. Like the timing of this on November 1st is it's unbelievable. Could you sort of talk about that aspect of it? It hits what's going on.
Well, I've talked about that a couple of times. I also understand that because it's sort of the moment, sort of scandalous, that it's sort of interesting to bring in that conversation. But I don't think that serves the imagination, the hard work, the authenticity of the writers and the artists that got together to tell this story,
Sure.
I'm hoping that the audiences that will watch it won't just think about the stuff that they've heard in the news, but will start to really scratch the surface, go deeper on what their own life experiences are like. I think there's so many stories that are utterly relatable because they're just ordinary folks trying to do a good job. So I hope that they'll go a little bit further than just all the stuff that's happening around the show and go into the morning show and really watch it.